Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As you can already tell by the title of the video, today we're going to be discussing a very controversial topic in the world of football right now. Something that is hot on the lips of everyone. Something that is pretty important and I feel like has to be discussed to a certain extent, especially in the current sort of climate we find ourselves in politically. Now let me just start this video off by saying over the past 3-4 years that I have had this channel, where it's been a mostly Celtic related channel, Celtic based content, it has never been a place for any form of political ideology. It's never been a place for my political opinion. I've kept that under wraps, and you know, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably have more of an idea of where I lie with my politics. But that's not what this channel is about. This channel is about football. This channel is talking about football and appreciating football and appreciating all the good side of things. But over the past couple of days, football has been taken aback, and over the past few months it has been as well, as the world has been taken aback by everything that has been happening over the globe, especially in America and then over here, where we've seen acts of racist abuse. We've seen everything that is just absolutely shocking. It should be abolished. It's something that in this modern age should not exist, but sadly it does. And today there has been fuel added to that fire with a lot of controversy on the player James McClean. Now let me just start this video as well by saying, just because I'm a Celtic fan, I do not want to be labelled as an Irish Republican or as a Fenian or as blah blah blah, you know the normal terms. If I do believe in those things, that is my personal choice, and I believe everybody's personal choice should be respected. There is things that I don't agree with politically that people will agree on the other side with. It's a very big spectrum and everyone has their own views. I'm not on this channel to force my views down anyone's throat, and I don't believe anybody should be in the comments section forcing their views down someone's throat. Politically, everybody's entitled to their own views. And I'm going to discuss things on both sides here. This isn't a video for me advocating either side of any sort of divide. It's me talking about an issue in modern day football which I do believe has to be addressed and should be taken more seriously, where we have seen stuff being taken seriously over the past few months. Now, if you don't know, very briefly I'll fill you in the story. James McClean is an Irish football player who grew up in the city of Derry, a city which seen 14 people innocently killed by the hands of the British Army, you know, quite a while ago. That's, once again, before Rangers fans or anybody may, you know, fire away in the comments that I'm out here with an agenda against the British Army or anything like that. I'm not. I'm just giving context to the story. And ever since then, you know, we all know about the Irish Troubles, right? We know the history. You know, people have been arguing about it for decades now. It dates back for years, and we all have our set opinions on things. But James McClean has grew up with the kind of side to himself where he has refused to wear a poppy, for example, in British football games around Remembrance Day in November time, because of what happened in his own city, because of the fact that British Army killed his men. You know, they killed innocent men in his city, so he doesn't feel like he should be able to wear a poppy, and for that he has been given abuse. He's had letters sent to him, death threats sent to him. Everything has been to a horrible racist extent. James McClean has been treated like a piece of garbage for years now, and only recently has he had a point to be able to back himself up as to why nothing's been done about it. Now, the points where I will come to now is this. I wholeheartedly agree with everything that James McClean is saying over the past 24 hours. He's been on TalkSport today, he's been in umpteen newspapers, he's been on radio. He's been talking about his treatment and how he feels like he has not been given any justice for the abuse that he has suffered for the past 8 years of his life since playing in Britain. Since that first season of not wearing a poppy, that the abuse that he's been given on a daily basis, every time he travels to a stadium, it feels like he can't go anywhere safely, blah blah blah, all that stuff. He has spoke out over the past couple of days about how there has been no justice served to him for that. And it feels like there is a completely different culture to how people are treated for their race compared to him. Now, let's talk about, quickly, Black Lives Matter. Let's talk about racism in football. Let's talk about everything that's happened over the past month. I 100% agree with the Black Lives Matter movement. I completely agree that players should be taking a knee before the game right now to understand what is happening in our world. I believe that this is all for a good cause. Wilfried Zaha the other day was racially abused by a 12-year-old boy on Instagram in his direct messages and threatened to be killed because of the colour of his skin, which is absolutely shambolic. It's outrageous. It should not be happening. And the fact it's coming from a 12-year-old boy is more worrying than anything. James McClean, who has received this sort of treatment for 8 years, every day, at every ground, has never been served a single piece of justice. Wilfried Zaha, the person who abused him, was arrested. Yes, only 12-year-old was arrested, taken to custody, whatever, for that abuse. Well, James McClean has never really had any justice served to him. Anything that ranges from verbal to physical abuse. Now, the police have acted in the correct manner. I would expect whoever gave Wilfried Zaha that abuse to be arrested, 100%. But the fact there has nothing been done for James McClean and no justice has been served is utterly bewildering, considering the extents that people have went to over the past few years to drill into this guy that he is not welcome in the United Kingdom, that he's not welcome in England, just purely off a political belief he has. I'm not saying that I believe in this, but I seen a point on Twitter, a point on Twitter was brought up that James McClean choosing not to wear a poppy is the same sort of gesture as taking a knee before a football game. He is choosing to make his political stance. He's choosing to make a stance guided towards his race, blah, blah, blah. And I get that. I'm not saying I'm for or against that, but that is a point that has been raised in this situation. For too long, I believe Irish discrimination has been a big problem, not just in the East End of Glasgow, not just in Glasgow, everywhere in Britain now. And that is evident through the abuse that James McClean has taken over the past 8 years. And this is where I'm going to talk about what I said when I said I look at both sides of things. James McClean is no angel, and he admits that himself. James McClean is a bit of a wind-up merchant. Sometimes, you know, he does things that people would say justifies the abuse he gets. Some people would say it's his own fault for getting the abuse he gets. But let's not forget the key part of this. Let's not forget how it all began. This began out of nothing but James McClean making a point that he believes in, which I believe everyone should be entitled to. As I said at the start of this video, no matter what side you're on, everyone should be entitled to do what they want or believe what they want to a political standpoint. And that comes down to wearing a poppy or not as well. I don't think it should be any obligation for anyone to wear one, especially a man of his past, his descent, where he comes from a country that has been torn apart by the likes of the British Army. Once again, not giving my opinion on it all, but that is purely where James McClean is coming from, and I believe anybody of any background, of any stature in life, should be able to understand that and respect that that is his choice to do so, and he started doing so in a manner that was nothing but, you know, it was nothing disrespectful. He just chose to do it for his own belief. And I understand James McClean has made mistakes. I understand the photo that he put up earlier this year where he had the photo of teaching his children in the living room. You know, had the caption about homeschooling and he had the balaclavas on, kind of signalling stuff towards the IRA, blah, 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 teaching his own history. Yes, he has even came out and said it was intended for a joke and it didn't go down as a joke, and he accepts that was a mistake now. He apologises for that. He's moved on from that, and yes, that is one of those things he has done which, yes, will bring him abuse, but is it to the point where he should be receiving death threats through his door every day? Let's not forget how it actually got to that point for James McClean. Of course, this is a similar story up north. This happens quite frequently. There is such a divide between, you know, the sort of Irish community and non-Irish community, the British community, you could say, of even Glasgow, where, you know, people like Neil Lennon have came here, and people like Aidan McGeady and other characters that have surrounded themselves with an Irish background, or a background that is not, you know, what they should believe in to some people, and received, you know, Neil Lennon's had bombs sent through his door, he's had bullets sent through his door, he's been abused in the middle of streets. It's absolutely shocking. It's a culture that does, and this is the point where I will make my own standpoint very clear. There should be justice served for these things. I don't like the fact that we are treating this like nothing. We're not taking it as seriously as, well, this is a race issue, this is a racist issue, and these people, I feel like there has to be some sort of, you know, resolution to make sure that we can make a step forward, a step in the right direction to ensure people like James McClean can go their daily life without being abused. And yes, I will once again come back to, he does make things that happen that brings it to him. He does. And he's no angel, but it's not just with James McClean. And I'm sure James McClean has been plenty of situations in his life, he's done nothing, he's just walked out in a football park and has been labelled everything under the sun, a Fenian, whatever. It's really a matter of he doesn't have to do much, and it does happen to him. A quote from James McClean, which I find very, very telling, telling's not the word, it's very striking. It was the words, "I'm just asking for equality, I want to be treated the same." I think that's what every single person, no matter which background you come from in this country, should be treated as. People will know I'm a slightly left-leaning man. I don't need to hide that if you have seen my Twitter, but the racist abuse the likes of Wilfred Zaha and the Goldrick of Sheffield United have faced over the past few weeks, and Akinfenwa as well last week for Wickham, is on par with the abuse that James McClean gets. And there's no way he should be treated as an equal individual like the rest of the players within his team, within his league. And it's a very sad sight. And the fact there is so much abuse towards him, it counts for everybody that comes from that community and does feel discriminated towards. We certainly should not take away from the attention and the importance of these racist abuse situations that black players are facing every day, because it is scandalous. I'm not saying for a moment that we should take our attention or our focus away from that and stop battling that, but everybody deserves the same equal treatment, from footballer to the common Joe. It's a situation I do feel quite strongly about, and I feel like making a video on. It's that bad that you could tell after the TalkSport interview, TalkSport don't turn off replies to any of their tweets. This they had to. You know why? Because the things getting said in that reply section is sickening, it's disgusting. And this video isn't about a political view, it's not about a political standpoint, it's about that. The key part of it is the abuse. Why does any man deserve that? I don't understand, I don't quite understand it. And I think that we should have a look at this. This should be something that is served justice like others. And hopefully will become one of those issues as more people speak out, as James McClean has spoken out over the past couple of days. Anyway, that's about it for the video. I don't want to go on too long. This is something that I could speak for you know, quite a long while on, but I don't want it to become a video which is purely there for it's there for my opinion on things. It's there for what I believe is right. It's speaking out. It's also not a video I don't want to come back and haunt me in the future. There has been no part of this video where I have came out and said anything about my own political views that would jeopardise my place for, say, a job in the future or whatever. It is purely me just coming out with a simple fact-related video with a slight, you know, I've given a slight opinion on what I believe is wrong. I've not came out and said I support anything about any organisation or any sort of, you know, just anything wrong. It's a video I just felt like had to be made, and I know it will not sit well with a lot of people, but as someone who believes in equality for everybody, I believe that James McClean has had some very, very important points over the past couple of days. If you've enjoyed, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.